Hello, this is Britt Caswell with another example video. In this video, I'm covering example 2 from lesson 2-2 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 1 textbook. In this video, we are looking at writing the equation of a line in point-slope form. So recall from my last video that point-slope form looks like this equation that I've written at the top of the screen, where x1, y1 is the ordered pair of a point, and m is the slope, hence the name point slope. So here in example A, we are given a line with a slope of 1/2, okay, so that's my m value, that passes through this point right here. So here's my x1 value and my y1 value. So it says, what form can you use to write the equation of the line? Well, I'm given a point and I'm given a slope, so the answer to that is the point-slope form. And then it says, what is the equation in that form? So what I do to start writing out the equation is all of this stuff that I've written in black, I think about this kind of like a template. Okay, I have a y and a minus, a space, then there's a space for an m, and then an x and a minus. Alright, these are going to be the same for every single equation that I ever write in point-slope form. Now, my m value, I'm going to fill in the blank here. Okay, that's 1/2. And then my x1 and my y1 values go here and here. So where the y1 is, I'm going to put a -2. And where the x1 is, I'm going to put a 3. Now when we are doing this point-slope form, it's important for us to then do kind of a little bit of a double check. Do you see how right here it says y minus a -2? We don't normally like to have two operators like that in a row. So remember, if you're subtracting a negative, that's the same as adding. So I'm going to change this left-hand side of the equation to say y plus 2 equals. And then the rest of the equation so far looks pretty good. If you notice here in the second parentheses, there's only one operator, there's just one minus. So it's okay to leave that one as a minus. And so this is the equation written in point-slope form. Easy peasy, am I right? Let's try another one. So in this one, they're giving us 2 points, but they're not giving us a slope. Okay? So when I go to write it in point-slope form, I need to actually find my slope. I don't know what that is yet. So recall that the slope is found by doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? So I can define these as x1, y1, and x2, y2, and I can actually go ahead and find that slope. Let's do that now. So for y2 minus y1, I'm going to do 3 minus 1. For x2 minus x1, I'm going to do 2 minus -4. So at the top of my equation, 3 minus 1 is 2. At the bottom, when I subtract a negative, that's the same as adding. So 2 plus 4 is 6. And then we can reduce that fraction. 2/6 turns into 1/3. So there's my m value that I need for my slope intercept, or for my point-slope form. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out my little templates. I have y minus, I'll put some value, equals m times x minus another value. And I'm going to write this template out a couple of times because there's going to be a couple of ways I could write this equation. Okay? So, just one more time, that way I can fill in the m's and the x's and y's so you see those. So just a reminder, the m, or the slope, goes here in front of the set of parentheses. and then my x1, y1 go in those other blanks. Okay, now I could have called x1, y1, I could have called the second point x1, y1, right? It doesn't really matter how I distinguish those as long as these are grouped together. So what that does is that gives me multiple options for my equation. So if I'm thinking about this first point as x1, y1, I could fill in a -4 and a 1 into this equation. If I think about the second point as x1, y1, I could fill in 2 and 3. It doesn't really matter which point I choose as long as I keep the ordered pair together. Okay, these are both equally right. And then where that slope is, I'm going to write the 1/3 that I found. Now if I'm looking at these, this bottom equation is already good to go, just boxing it in yellow, because it doesn't have any multiple operations in a row. There's just y minus a number, or x minus a number. But on this middle equation, I need to change it a little bit because in my second set of parentheses I have x minus -4. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that minus a negative and just turn that into a plus. Oops, I don't know why I put a 1 there. And so now that I have my plus, now this other equation is good to go as well. So both the equation in brown and the equation in yellow are correct answers to part B. Let's go ahead and let's do one more example just to make sure that we understand how to do this. So in point-slope form, first thing we need to do is have the slope. So they give us 2 ordered pairs, and we are going to use our slope equation in order to find it. So I'm just going to pick a point, call it x1, y1, pick the second point, call it x2, y2, and I'm going to plug it into the equation. So y2 minus y1 would give me 3 minus -1. x2 minus x1 gives me -3 minus 2. So 3 minus -1 is the same as 3 plus 1, which is 4. And -3 minus 2 is a -5. So my slope is -4/5. So then I can go ahead and create my little templates. All right. Since I have the equation written above us on the screen, I'm just going to write 2 templates, one for each point. Alrighty. And then in those templates, I'm going to fill in the slope I just found. So I'm going to put the -4/5 right here. Alright. And then I'm going to use my ordered pairs to help me to fill in my equations. So if I choose this first point as x1, y1, I put a 2 here where the x1 goes, and a -1 here where the y1 goes. Now remember, we don't like to have a double negative here. So instead of writing a minus minus, I'm going to change that to a +1. So this is going to say y plus 1. For my second equation, I'm using my second point if I wanted to. Where the x1 goes, I could put a -3. But I don't want to have a double negative, so I'm going to change that to a +3. And then where the y2 goes, I'm going to put in my 3. Now you don't have to find both equations for most assignments. Usually they'll only ask you for one. So you can choose either equation that's in the box. But that's how to write an equation in point-slope form. Until next time.